I'm here with Paul the Asset Nicholson. He's going to be answering some of your Twitter questions in a moment. But first of all, Paul, just tell us sort of how you are and how your form and your practice is going at the moment.
Yeah, practice is pretty good, I've got to be honest. Form been a bit rocky since I made a final in Wigan about a month ago, but you know, everything's positive. You know, this year I have not played many bad games. Just so happened I probably played my worst game of the year at Bolton. I just didn't feel comfortable, but I've done the right thing after Bolton. I took a couple of days off, you know, just refocused myself, and I think a lot of the guys have done that. You know, now that Bolton's out of the way, it's the next phase of the year. This is where all the big majors start, and it's just a case of, you know, seeing what's been going right, focus on those, forget about the negatives, and really move forward, because this is where, you know, this can make a difference to your career if you can play well this time of year.
Well, you are a keen tweeter, Paul, and a lot of your fans have been sending the questions in, so we'll fire straight into Ask the Asset. Darren Savage says, if you were not playing darts, what would you be doing?
Oh, I wish I could be a golfer, but more realistically I'd probably be working in some sort of investment company, or maybe back working for a bank. That's what I was doing beforehand.
Sheila Blackeray has asked, who is your toughest opponent and your best match so far?
Best match this season was against Ted Hankey, which was away from the cameras. That was an incredible game where Ted edged it, but it was just a meteoric game when it came to finishing. I wish people could have seen that. Hardest opponent, I would probably have to say James Wade. I've never beaten him in a competitive match, and he's just a really hard match player. It's really hard to get it on top of him, so I'd probably have to say James.
We've had a tweet in saying, when are you going to bury the hatchet with Kevin McDine?
Interesting. Kevin and I go way back. You know, been friends a long time, but unfortunately, you know, sometimes friendships go the other way. They really do. And when someone interferes in your personal life, you just gotta, you know, you got to put them to the side, and you got to focus on what's positive in your life, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. So as far as Kevin and myself, I think you know, we'll visit that in the future, but it's not really a priority right now.
Cool. Will your love of wrestling ever lead you to go on stage painted like Ultimate Warrior? And that's from Dan Dawson.
I was going to say, that wasn't from Wes Newton, was it? You never know. I'm the kind of person I never say never. So when it comes down to that kind of thing, you know, wrestling and, you know, my love for wrestling and for darts, they do tend to kind of combine sometimes. But as for me having my face painted, not really sure. But if it's going to be anybody, it's probably more like Sting from TNA as opposed to Ultimate Warrior. And just one final question, and it's the one that everyone seems to ask about you, is why did you choose the bad boy stage persona instead of one that the crowd would love more? Well, I think we've got to blame Tony Crampton, my close friend from Australia, for that. It was his idea before I actually came over to my first World Championships. He said there was no real characters in the sport at the time. He said you need to go in there and you need to just project a real aggressive image, and that's what I did. You know, I didn't think it was going to become what it became, but as far as I'm concerned, it does reflect the kind of dart player that I am and I want to be. And I think you want to watch this space, because I think this year I've gone a little bit soft. You know, my mental journey has taken me to, you know, through some good processes, and it's all about the process now. It's not about the result, it's about the process. But as far as I am concerned now, I think I've got to be a little bit more aggressive on that stage in the next few months. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be first round exits. I think I've just got to find that inner angst again, and I've got a funny feeling I will.
So the Twitter followers have an exclusive. The bad boy could be back. Thanks a lot for your time, Paul.
Thanks, Twitter.